Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now June 10th of 2024, and so far the Acolyte series is off to a terrible start when it comes to Disney, Lucasfilm, and those attached to this project like Leslye, Headland, the showrunner of the series, Amandla Stenberg, who is doing more damage than good to the show when it comes to the press tour, as well as everything else related to Kathleen Kennedy at large. Now we already know that episode 1 and 2 during the Acolyte premiere pretty much bombed universally. We know that everyone is rejecting this show. Nobody wants to deal with this series anymore, especially just you wait until episode 3 drops on June 12th. If you thought episodes 1 and 2 were bad, that is going to be nothing compared to the 3rd episode. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, much like Rachel Zegler and among other actresses out there like Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Brie Larson, I think that Amandla Stenberg is yet another insufferable that I like to call the Insufferables. A little pun on the Expendables there. But really, she's been saying the most god-awful things about the Star Wars fandom, about Star Wars fans in general, where she is just absolutely wrong about everything that she has said before, and basically she's going at it yet again when it comes to the Acolyte marketing campaign in a desperate move for damage control to save this series at all costs. Let's get into this. Now, specifically, of course, Amandla Stenberg, we know the crazy things that she said in the past couple of days about Star Wars fans, about her view of course, the franchise, about George Lucas, and that's just the start of it all. Now, with the Acolyte episodes 1 and 2 already off to an awful start for Lucasfilm and Disney due to the fan backlash, which, by the way, is only set to multiply. Like I said before, once the 3rd episode drops this Wednesday, one major development now involves more to do with actress Amandla Stenberg, who continues to attack the fans and those that reject the Acolyte after the ratings disaster has been shown as no sign of holding a resolution in sight. She delivered the following. Well, look, I think that for the most part, Star Wars fans just have no clue what they want anymore. Like, all they can do is blame racism, bigotry, and act like a misogynist to get things done their way. I, for one, blame all those things. That's exactly why things are going the way that they are. It's all about racism, bigotry, and everything related to misogyny. I was proud for Leslye to really make some of the characters non-binary in this series, but for fans to claim that mostly men watch Star Wars or how that's the main demographic is just insane, and they have no clue what they are even saying. Like, damn, I mean, these fans have no clue what they are. So many women that actually watch Star Wars that I think outnumber the men. I really do believe that because so many women never want to say they watch Star Wars, you know? It's a stigma, and it always was a stigma, so they keep their mouths shut about it. So yeah, I think the men are just afraid of women in this one because they outnumber them in this series. Like, I just think the negative reviews are all out fake, like, for real. Like, seriously, it couldn't be any more clear that the negative reviews are just fans that aren't really fans anyway, I guess saying the most ridiculous things and are engaging in bigotry. So, guys, let me just stop here about what Amandla Stenberg is saying again. So, she is pointing the finger at Star Wars fans, and she is actually saying that to them, it's all about them engaging in bigotry, racism, and being very much a misogynist, and that is the complete dishonest perspective, alright? We know that there's a lot of things going on there with Amandla. The reality of the situation is, yes, number one, guys, the diversity in this series is so in your face. The overall agenda is so in your face. We get that. I get that. You know, we all see what's going on here with the Acolyte series, but the real problem, alright, the real problem at the center of it all is bad writing, bad acting, lack of storytelling, lack of proper character development, a very predictable story. I mean, look, I think that we can all say that May is going to turn good. I mean, that's pretty much just an eye, you know, sore right there, right from the get-go. But moving on forward, she goes on to continue. It's just like Leslye said about what she knew was coming during our press tour for the Acolyte. She knew it, and we knew it as well, as we both predicted how these fans that call themselves men would act. From what I have noticed, we are the best reviewed show yet. All the real critics love this series, and there's no lying about that. They are professional critics that know and understand the film industry and how a story is crafted. All the negative reviews, as far as I see it, are nothing more than untrue, biased opinions. It all boils down to two things why we are getting so many haters that didn't even watch the series. It has women, and it represents different communities like the LGBTQ community and many more like the non-binary community that I proudly represent in this series later on. I just can't wait for fans to see everything moving ahead with it all. What Kathleen allowed us to do was something that I am internally grateful for, to finally find a series that represents all these communities, and it just is so predictable to see how the men would react to a show that really just wants to support diversity, equity, and inclusion. That was Leslie's #1 goal. She also hired an entire cast and crew that knew nothing about Star Wars, so this was an interesting team to work with in my career that led no bias over the franchise or what Leslye was doing. So, guys, what she's basically saying there, what that translates to, and why would you want to openly admit, by the way, that you hired a cast and crew that knew nothing about Star Wars? Well, that basically translates to Leslye can just have, like, a free roam of what she wants to do on the set with no questions asked. That's what it boils down to, guys. Now, sure, you got Kathleen Kennedy on this set, but she doesn't count. Of course, you got others on this set, like the Lucasfilm story group. They don't count because they're all engaging in Leslye Headland's nonsense. Even Dave Filoni buys into Leslye Headland's garbage. Alright, this is exactly why I said earlier on, Dave Filoni is not the savior of Star Wars, alright? I pointed this out for the past year and a half now, that he just goes along with the flow and will do whatever he wants to do over at Lucasfilm. Sure, he may have done some good things here and there, but for the most part, when it comes to the Disney era of Star Wars, not so great, alright? I think that everything that he supports is just all catered to the Disney agenda. That's why he had dedicated interviews with Leslye Headland. That's why Leslye Headland directly, openly admitted that Dave Filoni supports everything that she's doing in episodes 1 through 4 for the Acolyte series, and that he even helped in that actually becoming possible. But moving forward here, she goes on to conclude, the non-binary community and the LGBTQ community are very important to me, and it is extremely childish and irresponsible from the men acting in such a way about that representation in the series that just wants to evolve Star Wars as a brand to something new. We talked this over with Kathy, and her goal was to find new fans that would really understand where she was coming from. Sometimes you have to detach from the past fans to move forward. Again, there you have it again. It's all about finding new fans that will eat up whatever Leslye is throwing out there in the Star Wars universe. Basically what they want are new fans that know nothing about George Lucas's Star Wars or his philosophy. They want new fans that are gonna grow up on the Disney era of Star Wars, that are just going to love everything going ahead. Now look, it's not gonna work because, sure, you can have your agenda all you want, but if you don't have good storytelling, if you don't have good character development, it is not going to work at all in the slightest. So overall, guys, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.